So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you joining me on Twitch, I am Sir John Knight. For those of you joining me on YouTube, I am known as Master Jack Wiz. A lot of my buddies call me as Master Jack Wiz, but I'm starting to change things to be known as Sir John Knight. So, today I want to do some budget builds. I'm going to do mostly energy weapon budget builds. Going to start with the easiest, which is Phaser and Disruptor, because they generally use the same thing. Now, these budget builds can utilize both beams and cannons, so the only thing you'd have to do is just change your bridge officer abilities along with your weapons. That's pretty much about it, and depending on the traits, that too. But very easy, very simple. Some energy types I might do, some I might not. Like Antiproton and Tetrion are going to be the hardest, because I mean, Antiproton won't be the hardest, especially with the newest lockbox. You got a console, you can just go out the exchange, which increases the Antiproton damage, but it requires using 2 reputation weapon sets. But it's just not that viable in my opinion. And I mean, you can see that I got the reputation dual cannons right here. I mean, I did it a while ago, like earlier this year or sometime last year, where I utilized both weapon sets, like the full 3-piece, would use the 3-piece set effect. And I found that that actually wasn't horrible, but you're stuck with 2 torpedoes that you really won't be using. Okay, so first energy type, we'll go with Phaser, and what I'll do is I'll do a dual beam build for it. Actually, you know what? I'll do dual cannons first. Dual cannons using the Discovery 2-piece weapon set. And then for cannons... Oh, but before I get ahead of myself, the reason why I'm using the Elachi frigate is because it is an event ship, meaning you could have gotten it for free, and you still can technically get it for free. I am pretty much preventing myself from using any R&D promo ships, or any Lobby ships, or any Zen ships, including traits, consoles, everything else. So I am limiting myself to traits you can buy off the exchange, to weapons you can buy off the exchange, to fleet equipment, and reputation equipment. My definition of a budget build are builds that require 0 real-life dollars. If it requires any kind of real-life dollars to acquire, then it is a setup that I will not call a budget build. Okay. Phaser. Why not? Omni is going to go with the Trilithium 2-piece, which you can get from the mission. The reason why I use that one over any other Phaser weapon set is just because the engineering console, the 2-piece set effect, in my opinion, is the best you're going to get. And I'm also going to be using the assimilated module and the kinetic cutting beam that you get from Omega Reputation, just because I use it for all my builds except for my science build at the current moment in time. Okay, so if you want to maximize your DPS, you want to go with the Colony Deflector, which is this one right here, the Elite Fleet Intervention Protomatter Deflector Array. Reason being, we'll just read what it does. It just increases your crit chance and critical severity, and it increases your shield penetration, which is absolutely amazing. There's 2 versions of this deflector. There's that one, and then there's this one. I pretty much call one more colorful and one less colorful. The one that has less color is the one that you don't really want. Now, it does increase your... oh wait, what does this one do over the other one? Electro... So, power transfer rate and drain. How boring. Anyway, don't get it. All right, now for Plasma, Disruptor, and Phaser, I'm going to utilize the Disruption Pulse Emitter and the Secondary Shield Projector, just because of the fact you can buy these both on the exchange on the Federation side, and the two-piece set effect is very, very nice because it increases all three energy types by 33%. Now, for warp cores, I generally always use the Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp Core that you get from, I want to say, the Spire. Can't really remember where it is exactly you get it. But, this is the one that I use, and it also gives me the ability using weapons capacitors. Now, generally, for any standard DPSing build of any kind, when it comes to energy weapons, you generally want to use the two-piece competitive set, seeing as how the getting competitive reputation is the same part. So, in this case, I'm just going to switch to Bajorn two-piece, which you can get from... Wow, okay. Door is full. So I'm going to use a Bajorn two-piece, which you can get from missions. And yes, I already know, everything's Mark 15 Epic, but again, you can literally do all this with no money. So I'm going to use the Bajorn two-piece just because it's easy to get, and two-piece set effect also increases Phaser, Disruptor, and Plasma, and it's also not a bad set to use. Now for tactical consoles, you can go with Discovery Reputation ones. I will show you which ones I am referring to. These ones right here. You got ones for beams that... these ones. They aren't as good as the vulnerability locators you get from Fleet. The Fleet Spire. But they are decent. Like, they are actually insanely good, so I'd use these ones if I don't have access to vulnerability locators, but I have access to vulnerability locators with every energy type, so that's what I use. Also, there is one thing that I will currently be using that is not part of the budget build, but seeing as how I always use them all the time, which is the Gemidar Vanguard Bridge Officers, but not really going to worry about that. So far, let's look at our stats. Defensive-wise, it's not terrible. Of course, there's better builds out there when it comes to defense. But as you can see, my crit chance is already sitting at 40.9%, and critical severity is sitting at 171.6%. And everything I am using on the ship, except for my Starship Traits, which I take them all off. So taking, except for standoff, because you can get that off the exchange. Alright, let's take a look again. Stats haven't changed. Now, another thing I will be adding to this build, for Phaser at least, will be Dynamo, which you can get off of the Bajorn Interceptor. Which, again, is a ship that you can get either if you did the event, or you can get it from Phoenix. Now, granted, the drop chance for epic Phoenix tokens is insanely rare, but seeing as how they only cost the lithium, and the lithium farming is actually very easy in this game, it still counts as free. So that's clicky is very nice to have, plus increases phaser damage and accuracy rating. Now there is another console that I will be implementing to this build that you can also buy off the exchange, if I can find it. There it is, the Approaching Agony Universal Console. This console you can buy off the exchange, increases phaser damage and critical chance. Second, dogs are fighting. Okay, they're done. So this is another console that's also very good for phaser builds because look, crit chance already increased even further, which is very, very nice. And for the last console is where it's going to get a bit tricky because you're very limited I mean, not really very limited. I mean, I'm probably just most likely going to go with this one, which comes from the Gamma reputation, just because it increases phaser damage. 26. Both do it for 26%. So which one better? I'll add that, or I could add, you know what, I'll add a 0-point module, which increases my crit chance even further. So with this setup right here, I am maximizing my crit chance and critical severity to the best of my ability to what you can do with a budget build. Now, KDF side will be a bit different because you'll have access to DPRM, which I would use in place of the Disruption Pulse Emitter or the Secondary Projector. But the loadout and everything for Phaser will stay exactly the same. So this is what I would do for Phaser. With cannons, same thing with beams, just replace these. Oh wait, I can't use that because that's budget. Oops. The inventory is still full. I have too much stuff in my inventory. Whatever. So replace you with you. Didn't realize I was in inventory, so now it is full budget. Okay, now that that's fixed, how phaser dual cannons would be. At least that's how I would set up. For beams, I would just replace them with dual beams, where the ship, for maximizing your DPS, would go with sensor link just because they're... Granted, they are pretty pricey on the exchange, but they're also very good. Oh wait, there's actually a dual cannon I am missing. Next to that, there we go. So when it comes to dual cannons for Phaser and Disruptor, definitely want to go with the Terran Reputation dual cannon, but that's the only thing that you want from it. You don't want the console, you don't want the torpedo, just the cannon because of its stats. Very nice to have. This is how it's set up, dual cannons. Same thing with beams, just switch to the Terran beam. Which, do I have the Phaser variant? I do have the Phaser variant. I don't think I have the Disruptor variant, so... which stinks. It doesn't look like I have the Disruptor variant, but I do have dual cannons for Disruptors of different types. So there's that. But yeah, pretty much Phaser, Disruptor, same exact build, minus these two consoles. And this. So when it comes to Disruptor, replace this console with that one. Inventory's full. I need to fix that. Let me go fix that. Goes to show you how ill-prepared I was for this.
Your base is under attack.
Augmented Director. Augie. Long time no see. Thank you for the raid. Welcome everyone. Currently doing budget build stuff. Right now I'm doing phasers. I just gotta clean up my inventory. Welcome everyone. How are you doing? Okay, room. Time to dump stuff again. I own too much stuff on this character. Game is actually a lot easier than people think it is. A lot of people are misunderstanding what budget building actually is. For me, the definition of budget building is you don't spend any money or any real life money. Now that's just my own personal opinion of the matter, but some people say differently. My inventory looking. I still need to get rid of stuff. I got too much stuff. Don't ever get this bad. I can do any kind of build. On this character. Okay, so for those of you who are just now tuning in, like I said before, doing a budget build, currently working on Phaser. This is what I got so far. I would be using the two-piece competitive set for Impulse and Shields, but seeing as how... Yeah, I did change my name, Augie. Because I'm kind of doing like a rebranding thing. But I would normally use the two-piece competitive set just because that's your standard DPS, but I'm using two-piece Bjorn just because it's easy to get. If you guys have any requests on a type of ship or type of build you want to see, just let me know and I can try and figure it out and make it as budget as possible. Right now I'm just using the Elachi frigate just because it's technically a free ship. Yep. And currently everything is budget, and this is my crit chance critical severity for my phaser. So it's not hard. Every single thing I'm using, you can either get through fleet, exchange, or reputation or mission. Even traits I'll be utilizing, you can get from exchange, pretty much. Everything is accessible for everyone. So for phaser, this is how I would have mine set up. Of course, I would still use a two-piece competitive set, but to make things easier, I'm using the two-piece Bajoran just because of the two-piece set effect of those three energy types, which I'll be utilizing that two-piece plus Disruption Pulse and Secondary Shield Projector for the two-piece set effect. ADF side will be different because they have access to DPRM very easily, which is awesome for Klingons. So this is how I'd have my cannon set up. Of course, for beams, I just switched them out for beams. And then I'd still use the Terran. Just like with the cannons with the Terran Task Force dual heavy cannon, I'd use the Terran Task Force single beam. Beam overload. I was like, hey, this guy knows his shit. And I didn't. Well, of course, it's me. Gosh dang it, Augie. Should be on top of this stuff. Yeah, I'm still doing my budget build themed stuff, so currently doing phaser. Next is going to be disruptor. So for disruptor, guess I'll just do cannons for now. Grab whatever cannons I can find. Generally would use sensor linked, but whatever. Disruptor wide arc. Switch you out with you. Switch you out with you. Yeah, I got into an argument with someone from the NOP chat because they were saying budget builds are no dilithium, no credits, no real life money. I was like, are you an idiot? Budget building requires 0 real life money. That's it. Okay, critical chance is better, but accuracy is about the same. I mean, I guess I could still use Dynamo just because of the fact that... There we go. Add that on there for its clicky. And it's passive. I guess I could still equip Dynamo for its clicky and its passive. So that could work with Disruptor. So really with Disruptor, the difference between Disruptor and Phaser is obviously the Omni House Martok with the House Martok Engineering Console. I'd still keep Dynamo on just because of the accuracy and the clicky. And then I'd replace the Agony Universal Console with the Computer Assisted Flight Console. But hey, Steel. Pretty much. So there's Disruptor, and of course with dual beams, just replace these with 3 Essential Link dual beams, and then that with the Terran single beam, and then pretty much it for Disruptor. Now for Plasma, cannons are pretty much going to be a no-go. They won't work. Because simulated Plasma comes in beam form only. And the 2-piece Romulan comes in beam form only. So you're pretty much stuck just going with beams for Plasma. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think beam overload builds are just beautiful and amazing in every single way. But got to do what you can do. Now, when it comes to weapon set Omnis, the only weapon set Omni for Plasma I can think of is the Ultimate set, which of course we can't use because budget builds. So we will have to figure something else out. What can I put in the back? You. Are you Phaser? Let me guess, you're Phaser, yeah. Don't really want to use that 2-piece set. Probably won't use that 2-piece set. Dark Matter Torp could actually work, yeah. And just utilize that 2-piece set effect. And then replace you with the assimilated Omni. Right there. Oh no. No, I know what I can put back here. I know exactly what I can put back here. The Lucari single beam. And then put on the Lucari Universal. Because Lucari gives awesome plasma boosts. Okay. I want to replace you. There's a few universal consoles you can get your hands on that boost plasma damage, but I don't think I have any at the moment. Which it doesn't look like I do. That's disappointing. I guess I'll throw in this because of its passives. Yep. I would still keep this on just because of its crit chance and shield penetration bonuses. Granted, the 2-piece would definitely be more beneficial. So, depending on the ship you're running and the setup you can do, you could actually equip the Dark Matter Torp in the front and then rock Torpedo Spread 3. And then rock 3 dual beams and then the Plasma single beam because the 2-set effect of this is just too good to pass up. The Lachi character would be pretty fun, not gonna lie. Well, the reason why I'd use Romulan Beam is because for beam overloads, this thing...
Holy shit.
Trekkie_Stowe, thank you for the follow, sir. Welcome to the stream. The reason why I'm using the Romulan Experimental is because when this thing is using beam overload, it hits like a truck. I've been testing it out with that and the Lucari. Both of them can sometimes do as much, if not more, than dual beams, if you get lucky. So this is how to set up a plasma with what I currently have. This was from an event, so you can, if you never did the event, you can get this from the Phoenix box if they haven't added it yet. If they have, then you can still get it. Okay, so there's plasma. Now the next one. Oh, the next one. Oh dear. Should I even attempt to do Polaron? Because when it comes to the easy ones, it's Phaser, Disruptor, Polaron are the easiest. Then it goes Plasma, Antiproton, and Tetrion when it comes to budget building. We have Phaser and Disruptor are tied, and then it's Polaron is a very, very close second. But I want to say that I'm stuck only doing, at the current moment in time. Yeah, I thought so. Can I do... I am using assimilated plasma for the plasma build. Oh, kidding me? They're the best plasma in the game. Of course I'd use those. The two energy types that probably won't do for budget building will most likely be Antiproton and Tetrion, especially Tetrion. Tetrion is just too hard to actually make viable when it comes to budget building. Antiproton I can make work. Alright, kidding me? As soon as these assimilated plasma came out, I got a bunch of dual beams and single beams. Just so then I can do a legitimate Borg build. Okay, Polaron. This is gonna be tricky. Keep you on. Take you off. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need. So this weapon set you can get from the story mission called Home. And this weapon set you can use both for cannons and beams. Which I'll be doing a beam build. I'm not a beam build, a cannon build. You with the temporal. What does this two-piece do again? Yes, I want to use that two-piece. Where's the temporal? It is. Oh wait, when I take out the kinetic cutting beam, I'm dumb. And unfortunately, Polaron doesn't have any unique omnis. I would. There we go, Vaudoir. Yep, get one of those on there. That is a must. At least have one. All you need is one. Do I not have another? Apparently I don't have another. Huh. Apparently I don't have another Polaron. Well, in any case, just slap on another Polaron. Dual cannon there. Now for consoles. Where things get hard, because Polaron is very tricky. Already got those two on there. Oh, right. Throw this on here. Here's my Polaron damage. No, this one comes 2-piece. I mean, I guess you could use the Gemidar 2-piece. I just can't remember what that 2-piece set does. Look and see what that 2-piece set does.
Holy shit.
Oh, electrical_1. Thank you for the follow, sir. I definitely appreciate the follow. Welcome, welcome. Can I get a fleet invite? Captain, this is Jay. Okay, so let's see. Does anyone ever play on the Tribble? I know a few people do, especially when they're testing some things out. I know they do. Okay, okay, so you can use the 2-piece Gemini space set. Increases Polaron damage by 16.4%, which isn't bad. I would honestly use the engines and the shields for that. With Deflector, I'd still stick with the colony. But of course, my go-to obviously would be competitive and engines and shields for pretty much all DPS builds. But Gemini space set, the 2-piece engines and shields would also be a very good choice. Yeah, people go on Tribble just to test out like things that are coming out. Well, I mean, most of the time my streams are dedicated to things that are for helping people. So builds that can help, from budget builds to just handing things out from like lobby ships to even lockbox ships to traits to whatever. So here's a Polaron dual heavy cannon build with beams. Let me see. I already know Lucari has a beam form. Okay, it does have a beam. So for beams, I just switched out to 2 reputations for the beams, and then get a Vaudouar Polaron single beam, or 2 if you want. It's all up to you if you want to get those or not. But pretty much just keep this exactly the same. Just switch out the cannons with single beams. Those are the easiest ones that you can do budget builds with, for those energy types. Made loads of Gemidar and Tribble so I can farm for EC and Dill. I also made a KDF and Romulan tune on Tribble. I mean, yeah, Tribble definitely has its advantages and disadvantages. I mean, I don't play on Tribble just because people I run with don't play on Tribble. So, anyone have any requests for a type of build you want to see on a particular ship on KDF or Federation side? These are the ships I currently have on my Fed tune. My KDF tune doesn't have as many, but it has some. I mean, like I said, there are advantages and disadvantages for Tribble. It's just none of the hardcore players are really on Tribble that much. They just go on Tribble just to test out new things that are coming out, and then they immediately come back to the main server. Holodeck server. Oh yeah, I should probably get with the traits. So for DPSing, if you're a tactical tune, a good day to die, get off the exchange. I like using adaptive offense. A lot of people will say I don't use it, but I see its value. Gives you base crit chance right away, and then it'll also transfer crit chance to critical severity if you have a high crit chance build. The reason why I say use this personal trait is because if you have a crit chance that is above 50%, you're doing more harm to yourself. At least I find. So I like to increase the ability of my critical severity best I can, so that's why I run Untitled Offense. You can also get off the exchange. Duelist Fervor. Again, another exchange. Great. Really nice to have for DPS. This comes standard with any captain you make. Wish I knew someone who had the Sulabon Cell ship. They would either give me or sell to me. I actually don't see very many of those around. Sadly. Into the Breach is another good trait to be running for DPSing, especially if you're running a TFO, as it debuffs everything around the thing you kill. Operative is another standard trait that comes standard with any captain, so you don't have to worry about that one. Pseudo Submission, I pretty much run with everything nowadays just because it palicates you, which is nice. That makes you untargetable. But you can also buy the exchange. Self-modulating fire, you can get off the exchange, increases your penetration with energy weapons and projectiles whenever you crit. So it's nice to have. And then Terran targeting systems increases your critical severity. But when you get hit from critical chances, you lose your speed, but it's barely noticeable. So for Starship Traits, one I currently have equipped is Standoff. Bonus weapon damage facing forward arc. This is a trait you can buy at the exchange. It's very nice, especially if you're just flying around like a madman and you're running intel as your primary. You don't always have access to the ability of running. Well, not running intel, but having the ability to hit your target from the back. So I would run that just for its added bonus of damage to the front. I do have a Twitter, I just haven't used it in a very long time. Whenever I do actually use it, I normally just post when I'm going live. I don't really use it that often. This one is a good damage one. But if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you're more than welcome to. But like I said, I barely use it. I am Sir John Knight at Hidden Squid with a second I instead of an E. This comes off of the current ship I'm in, so it's nice to have. Yep, there you go. Thank you, Augie. Yeah, I haven't posted on there since earlier this year. Because I actually had it linked to my OBS, so whenever I went live, it would be like, hey, I'm live. What is another? I could use this one. You definitely are, Augie. Actually, this you can buy off the exchange. I would definitely use that over. If you get access to the Bajoran and you get its trait, definitely use its trait because nice to have, especially if you can't trying to do budget build. Access title weapon trait. That trait is a have pilot abilities. You can spam the pilot abilities. So obviously, I'd prefer using that trait on a pilot ship, so the Bajoran is perfect for it. But since I have access to engines, I can get access to utilizing that. So that's pretty much how to have it set up for DPSing. Got 3 DPS traits that you can buy off the exchange. I got 1 trait that helps with not being targeted and survive overall survivability. Well, actually, 4. So. What annoys me about during maneuver? Yeah, the cooldown is kind of, but it is nice to have. That's why if you're running a ship that just spams pilot abilities, you don't really have to, worry about it too much. We're gonna return to Stowe right after the event for the Bajorn Interceptor. Well, you can still get it through the Phoenix box. You just have to hope you get a epic one. The way I always tell people is when you're getting Phoenix boxes, wait till you get 40k dill, then buy a stack of 10 because it's cheaper. And also, dill farming is pretty easy. You just create a, I don't want to call it. Brain fart, sorry. Just create Gemini characters. Oh my gosh, the console and the trait are both insanely strong. Okay, so out of the tier 6 ships, Bajorn Interceptor, the Breen Heavy Raider are both ships come with traits that are very good to use. I'd actually say get all the Breen T6 ships just because the warship is very good. And also, when it comes to my budget build, tank build, I use all 4 consoles that come from that. And I do Polaron. The Ferengi warship is also a good ship to use. The Gabali cruiser is good to use because if it's console, definitely get your hands on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ships. Where energy weapon, tanking, or DPS are the ones I'd say you should get. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while. I very rarely get epic or ultra rare myself. I mean, when it comes to ultra rare, there's only 2 ships in ultra rare that's worth getting, and that's the Voth Bulwark and the Gemini attack ship. And then everything else is useless. So when it comes to the very rare, when it comes to space, obviously the Bajorn Warp Core or Singularity Core. Very worth getting. No. Surprised they haven't added the... That's worth getting for anti-proton builds. Oh. Is that what I think it is? Oh yeah, get him. Get him hard. Studio officer, that's good for beam overload builds. Oh no, evasive maneuver, sorry. Not beam overload builds on my... Definitely get him. I am not seeing... Must not added it yet. Well, that's disappointing. I mean, I believe it. I've only ever gotten maybe 5. Hold on, I got 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. I got 6 total. Of all the lithium and boxes I have bought and exchanged, I've only ever gotten 6. So pretty much after you get everything that you require or need out of the very rare or rare, that's things you want to turn these tokens into. are Phoenix Universal Tech upgrades. Reason being, they're pretty much the best upgrade item in the game. You can get Mark 15 Epic very easily and quickly with them. I pretty much have Mark 15 Epic everything that I own at the current modern time because of those tokens. And that's pretty much it for Phaser, Plasma, Polaron, and Disruptor. Like I said, I probably won't be doing Anti-Proton Tetrion just because Anti-Proton is a headache and Tetrion is possible. I mean, the only way to make Tetrion really good is to get the Lobby weapon set, in my opinion. Because that Zinkethi's set is just so good.